Hi there, my name is George, and I help independent creators launch their products and games. On this podcast, those creators share their journey from an idea to an actual product and everything in between. Today's guest is Rich Loxam. He is a former teacher turned CEO and co founder of Steamforged Games. Steamforged Games has raised an eye-watering 30 million across 19 projects with over 170,000 backers. This year marks the 10th anniversary of his company, so we're going to dive into the rich crowdfunding history of Steamforged Games and look at what lies ahead in the future. Welcome, Rich.
Thank you very much. And it's crazy to hear it out loud that you kind of don't stop and think about it. But yeah, that's pretty crazy numbers. Yeah.
It is pretty crazy, especially thinking about where this all began. So
Mm.
take us back 10 years ago before you were the CEO of a huge gaming company. Where were you in life at that time?
Yeah. So myself and Matt Harmer, co-founder, we were tournament gamers. So I used to travel around playing games like War Machine and like that. And Matt also kind of was really interested in the painting side of that. And we got to be friends, reached out and kind of between us, we kind of sat down one day and we kind of went, he was a video game producer in London and I was a design teacher and studied design. And between us, we thought, well, we maybe have the skill sets to actually make the game ourselves, which you know, that crazy idea with the beers around the table. And then fast forward 2 years from there, working after work and just putting the hours in till the hours in the morning, we managed to create our first concept, which was Guild Ball, which was the opening pitch and the opening line for that was if you imagine Gangs of New York and then from football in the middle, that's kind of what you get, right? And that was Guild Ball. So it was a great opening pitch. It kind of took off the time crowdfunding and Kickstarter was kind of in its early days and definitely a different beast to what it is now. And in those days, you could have half an idea with what you wanted to do, and it was much more of a kind of like people would want to see the idea realized. And so we really hit the market at a good time then. That was just well timed. We launched Guild Ball there. It raised, I think it was about 130, I think, all in at the end, thousand pound, which was enough to fund the project, but nowhere near enough to quit the day jobs. So it was that awkward kind of number. But yeah, we managed to work through that and we delivered the campaign within a year, what we said. And then we went to retail. So we plowed all out working both jobs. Both of us plowed all the additional kind of money or profit that was made. You know, there's not a lot of it, but we plowed it into the retail side, hoping that that might take off. And I remember we went to the first kind of trade show there and it sold out. There was queues out the door and it sold out. And it was one of that realization moments. Actually, we may have the start of a business here, which hadn't really dawned on us until that point. It was this is a passion project that all of a sudden has now become something else.
How did you even know what to do? You're a design teacher, you're a co founder as a video game designer in London. Where did you even start with figuring out where to start?
So I think from a creative side, we always had a vision. We could work out. We knew how to make right rules. We knew how to what good game design was or feel with what I was. And Matt had a very clear vision on the art style and how to achieve that from his video game producing kind of role that he's been in. So between us, we managed to get that side of the products really kind of right, so that the product itself was good. When it comes to the business side, we were quite naive. We had no serious experience. We have some idea what happens there, but we always felt if we made a great product, then let's see what happens. And I think that was our journey from that point. Actually, when we went to retail, we worked with some local stores to help kind of support that. And when we really started that ramp up, we noticed that now we need to get kind of serious and really kind of take this what we've created and build a business. That was the start of a long journey from there to get to where we are now.
We'll get to where you are now, but there are some steps in between. So your first campaign, Guild Ball, you just said did about 130,000
Yes.
pounds, dollars. It's all the same these days. And then your next campaign was Dark Souls,
Correct.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
And that one did on Kickstarter alone 4 million.
Yes. It was staggering. Like, I mean, at the time, it was, what we worked out is that there was enough after Guild Ball launched at retail. We worked out that actually there's probably enough funds there to take me out of teaching. I was the cheaper of the two of us, Matt, being a video game producer. So getting one of us full time to start with was the first port of call. And we did that. And then towards the Christmas time, we managed to go to the UK licensing expo down in London. And Matt had some video game contacts there, one of them from Bandai Namco, who kind of said, would you like to work on Dark Souls, the board game? And then we We were a small studio at the time, but we had great ambition. We've always presented ourselves as kind of a full rounded outfit. We always showed our passion and what we wanted to do. And Bandai trusted us with that kind of IP to grow from there. So we started working on that. We took the plunge with Matt at the Christmas time to get full time, and then by the April we're hitting the go button on the Kickstarter. I remember we didn't know exactly what to predict. Again, back then we didn't have notify me pages or things like that. We had some idea of what could happen, but I think we pressed the button and within 2 minutes it was kind of up to 100,000, and 15 minutes it was over 250,000, and we knew at that time that we were onto something crazy, and we're on the phone we're running through stretch goals and baby, and all the kind of in that campaign. It really showed us about, and I think this is a crowdfunding thing, about what to do right and what to do wrong on crowdfunding. Right, we've always been very open about this. We didn't get everything right on Dark Souls. We were brand new to this realm and the thing. I think we overcommitted in areas. We had issues outside of that, things like Brexit that happened. But what we did do over the course of what the company did do for us was really start the fundamentals of turning us from a couple of guys with an idea to the journey of like, right now we need to establish a full business to deal with where we are. We moved from that kind of small game with small ideas that was doing quite well to another league of kind of issues. We had good issues, but definitely, doubtfully so. There's definitely two parts to that to deal with.
But I guess also, I wonder if this was a conscious decision then at some point is you start as two friends who love games and you start your first game and then it's 130K.
Mhm.
Great. Then you're able to leave your full-time jobs. That's a big leap of faith. But then all of a sudden you're raising into the millions. And then this is like you're saying, becoming a business. And running a business is very different day to day than just bringing out games with your friends. So did you even want to run a business? Did you want to be a CEO?
I mean, it's a good question. At the time, I think me and Matt is the older of the two of us. I'm sure what we're saying. With more kind of industry experience, and people may have pointed to Matt to be the CEO. And Matt turned to me and said, actually, between the two of us, you're the right person to do this. He said, you got the temperament, you got the right skill sets, and I'm there to support you that journey. And I forever thank you with that, because it's something that as the time started going on, I saw Matt really had the passion to continue with the creative side, and I trusted that to him. And at the same time, he trusted the management of the business to me. I was always a young CEO. I hadn't done this role before. It is the true entrepreneur to CEO kind of experience. And I started with on that journey, and kind of had to try to surround myself with knowledge to help build that. And I don't think any CEO sits there knowing the full plan from day one, right? I think they grow as the team grows and as the knowledge grows. I think one of the key parts of my skill set that I've always had is I always listen to those around me and help like guide me and help learn from that. And that consistent learning, especially the other days from Matt and from others around, has really helped me hone ourselves to when we got to about 2019, we actually got external investment, when that kind of second layer of the company started coming at that stage.
What was that investment? Because on your Kickstarter page, it mentions you guys are private
Mm.
equity backed. So what does that mean?
So with the growth that we're having in the company, by 2019, we were really on a trajectory of high rapid growth. As an SME at that time, and when you look in the market, it was all the hallmarks of a rapidly exploding company that was on a high trajectory. So we got investment for growth. This was to help realize our plans. We had ideas about how we could structure and build that next layer of the business. And by then being very, clear that to do that, I think the external capital would help grow that. So Foresight come in as there's a round of kind of options, and Foresight come in as an option there as a minor partner, under the VCT, and they were able to support us with the journey basically. And they come in, put the £5 million into Steamforged, which was fantastic at the time, because it allowed us then to really start building the layers within the business and the infrastructure. And that, for me, was the journey from transitioning from the experience of Matt and others around me into the CEO role, to actually now having people like Simon Spalding, ex Hasbro, coming as exec chair to support that journey. We had several hires on the board, X Games Workshop with Toby Davies, and we had Judy Guan come in, and we had John Hyam, the financial director, come in. We had a kind of a board was built at that time of people that really bolstered my ability. And again, being a young CEO, I'm kind of in the room learning from these people and helping them grow on their path, but also listening to how they could help me grow the business and direct and help do that. I really do believe that a strong CEO is not someone that just sits there and tells executive what to do. It's listens to the board and helps craft their direction and what they should be doing, and listen to all those expertise and bringing that together in a coherent plan that can be delivered.
Man, that is really amazing. And not to sound harsh, but it's amazing that you survived through all those phases as the original sort of founder CEO. Because what often happens is external investors come in, they put in a board in place. The board may be unhappy about one thing or another. CEO, original CEO is out. They bring in a guy that they want to have
Mhm.
brought in, and you are like just hanging in there. In fact, thriving through all of that from early days up to now. So that's really pretty incredible. Does it ever stress you out just how big this has gotten now?
I think during the saying those things there, is a good point. There's been a lot of faith in me and Matt as business leaders and what we've done with the company. And that's never changed. There's been an unwavering faith in what we do. I think I'm so blessed to have people around me and again humbled by how much they see the vision that we put forward and how we craft that direction that people buy into and believe into that direction and support it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a difficult journey and it's kind of crazy that we went through those steps. And we've again been through crisis in that time. We've been through Brexit, so we had to manage that, and then post 2019, obviously had COVID to manage as well. And all the time the faith's been high in myself and the team. And I think, yeah, the stress levels do rise. And I think over time, I've managed to, I think in myself, understand better how to deal with situations. I think in the early days, I would be quite reactionary, quite straight away, right, let's do this, do that. And I think nowadays, I can spend that extra 5 seconds and that 10 seconds just to think about the situation and jump in straight away. And it comes over time. And I think I'm not perfect. I am young. I am still learning. I think we're ever learning this role. But I think there's a level of skills that I've now built up from the experience around me that's really helped me with people. And I think even back to my teaching days, that teaching really does build a level of skills in you to deal with many different people coming together with many different attitudes and bringing a kind of single voice there. And I think that's always helped me with trying to get through tricky situations and manage through them and making sure that everyone feels like they've been heard and listened to, and make sure that when we come out of that room that there's one direction that everyone will buy into.
One of the other amazing things I think that has happened recently in this journey is you struck an exclusivity deal with Kickstarter. And I'm guessing this from Kickstarter side. I used to work at Kickstarter. When I worked there, this was not a thing that
Mhm.
Kickstarter did. And I'm guessing it has a little bit to do with the competition heating up from GameFound. I'm just guessing. Were you guys the first studio that Kickstarter ever had an exclusivity deal with?
Yes. Yeah, we were working quite heavily in the background. Obviously, Kickstarter were trying to go through some transition themselves and looking for advice and be one of I think several of the big creators they were talking to about kind of where they could go. And I think we suggested that exclusivity deal would be something that may help them bolster and grow. We'd be happy to go into that. And we've been doing that for kind of just under a year now to help kind of grow together. I think although we're seeing maybe spurred on by others more kind of from our point of view, is it was a case of how to celebrate the creators on Kickstarter and really highlight those that were doing kind of really good things for the platform, bringing people to the platform. We were doing, I felt like from our campaigns that we were achieving, we were bringing a lot of faces, and we brought a lot of
Yeah.
large IPs to it, our own IPs as well, and really kind of celebrate that tabletop space. So we were really happy when we engaged that exclusivity and the joint press releases, and we look forward to that kind of how it's been achieved this just on this last year. So
It is pretty cool. I feel like what's nice about it is that you guys didn't sort of jump ship after growing up on Kickstarter and then just like jumping onto the other shiny thing. Yeah, so I thought it was a cool move. And does it mean anything else for you for your campaigns? Somewhere you mentioned that you guys are marked as a backer favorite, which is something I hadn't heard of before. I know there's Project We Love.
yeah.
What is that?
So I think when you click on the Steamforged one, there's a backup favorite. You'll see that on the profile, and it kind of appears. It's just been because of the reviews that get Kickstarter get through for things. I think the whole thing around us partnership with Kickstarter and us building kind of again the back of favor status and really highlighting to the audience that was all about building security for not just for us but for the wider consumer. And because at times there has been projects that haven't worked out on the platform, and I think we wanted to celebrate the security that we've done. We've done over 15 projects now. It's 17 or two, all completely delivered, raising large amounts of money, but delivering thousands of parcels worldwide now. And then we do that not because we price things super cheap and that our prices are correct. We work our margins out. We are as a business, and we try and make sure that the user gets the fair value for what they're doing, for committing that money up front and then giving us that time to make the products. But we always deliver, and that's the key for us. That in this time, especially where the economy is right now, security is very important to people when they're putting money behind projects and they're getting products delivered. And if we felt at the time that the exclusivity deal last year, alongside kind of emphasizing where we are, was really important to our audience.
And one other thing I think that's very interesting about your business is that we had Jamie Stegmaier on this podcast, very well known tabletop publisher as well. And basically, he said that he kind of graduated Kickstarter. So he did his first couple campaigns there. He's well known for it. And at a certain point, he stopped doing Kickstarter because he said, well, my business is now running without the need for
So,
Kickstarter. So I've graduated. But you guys have quite the opposite. You have a partnership with Kickstarter, and it seems very sort of a core to your business model. So why is it that you guys continue to use Kickstarter as a mature business?
sure. I think I've got a lot of respect for Jamie and what he built with Mr. Mary. He's done an incredible job and has an incredible loyal fan base. And I think his journey is definitely one route you can go, turning that audience they creating and moving them into the direct model he has now and working with the stores and getting his games everywhere. He does a fantastic job at that. I think we all want a wingspan in our corner, I'm sure. Well, I think our model is, I think when it comes to Seaforge, and maybe this is a little bit different about us, that we have diversified. We're not always in where people see. So people still see the Kickstarter is still quite a part, from this quite part of our business. We generate revenue from that in the board game space, but we also have direct to retail lines with our RPG ranges that people don't know about. So as much so, Epic Encounters is one of those that we do working directly in stores. Animal Ventures in our RPG lines go there. We also have done multiple kind of Dark Souls card game to retail. And so we have spread our kind of range across the board, tabletop and miniature game space over the last kind of 10 years. So rather than stay just in board games that a lot of publishers do and make with that, we've actually diversified across different brands and different genres, which has really helped kind of help the company, especially in the times of waning popularity or things like that, really stabilize kind of our overall kind of income, as you say. So we have solid revenue streams across our direct to retail business alongside our Kickstarter as well.
And with your Kickstarters, in terms of where your backers come from, I noticed that you don't work with any of the big marketing agencies. I think that makes a lot of sense. Is, for example, 80% of your Kickstarter backers on any given project, are they repeat backers from your previous projects, or like where do they come from?
Sure. We're building a very solid core base of fans. And I think one of the advantages we have in the market, obviously, is we have with our licensor partners, they bring an audience as well. Right. So we typically have a core that come through Steamforged. Our Discord is kind of over 8,000 now. It's growing in size. Our mailing lists are quite massive at this stage of core Steamforged fans. When those people will continue to pull our projects and go from project to project, like you say. But I think every time we do a project on there, a new IP, whether it's own IP or a licensed IP, we're bringing in a brand new audience, and don't always cross over, but they're always very passionate about the IP they love. For instance, Youth Here is a really good example of one that we acquired last year that has built a brilliant audience around itself, and those people they come for that game, that experience. So we don't try and oversell our audience across brands. We don't kind of go, hey, do you like Euphoria? Well, you love Resident Evil. That's never been our kind of tactic. It's more a case of, look, we make great games, we make big board games. There's a game for everyone in life. And we think that we
Yeah.
try and cater for a wide variety. But our Discord, especially, has been really nice to see where we've grown. Although there are multiple game groups in there, you can see the people crossing over into groups. That's really nice to see that those hardcore fans are now kind of crossing over and getting that real connected piece in there.
And is there something that you do fundamentally different in your campaigns today compared to, say, like 10 years ago, or is it still the same playbooks?
Massively. Yeah, massive. I think we opened with that. I think back in very early days in 10 years ago, it was much more of a, we have an idea and this is kind of where it's going to be. And here's most of it. I think if you had that same approach now, I think people, especially with the trust part, it would be very difficult for people to trust and back a project that isn't fully versed. So when we are going to Kickstarter now or any crowdfunding, we have to think about, especially our size, having an all-round product. And even anyway, it's tricky for indie developers, I think, now that now they really need to be coming with a product that is very well-rounded. Now, tools have improved since then, 3D printing and kind of the access to technology now is to the point where it is you can create some incredibly good sample work and at home that can really kind of sell your product, which wasn't around 10 years ago. So it does help. I think you do have to have an end-to-end product that people can believe is achievable. And also, again, coming back to the security part, they need to trust and believe that you can deliver that product as well. And then again, that you've really costed it correctly. And I think there's a caution in the market when a project looks far too good and it's got, let's say, 100 minis in it and it's $40. It's like people straight away red flag that and go, this just can't, surely can't be. And I think it's right to do that. We should hold ourselves accountable for an expectation. I think in the early days when costs were a bit cheaper than that, yes, there was the large projects like that. But where Kickstarter is now is much more controlled of what you can expect. Now, you still get great deals. There's still great opportunities there, especially as direct to consumer. So there is margin for that. Every business has. But when you factor in all the kind of costs, you go to Kickstarter plus the shipping, the international shipping, the manufacturing, it really does start to erode away at that margin.
And do you guys run ads aggressively for your projects, or it just comes organically?
Yeah, so we work quite heavily with BackerKit on the advertising
Okay.
side. So we've worked with them for a number of years now. So especially with lead gen side and then active campaigning, ads are an incredibly important part. Like getting that notified me page up is really crucial nowadays to steer a steer of where your audience is, and then consistently engaging with that audience. I think during the campaign as well, I think that there's you really need to make it an experience for the consumer. And then I think our team does a fantastic job of making people engage with the campaign and come back on a daily basis and really see and reward that as well. I think if it's quiet and you're just going to put the campaign up and it goes and you've got monetary sexuals, I don't think you get that kind of connectivity. We really like to do daily unlocks. We need to like campaigns where you can choose your character and really try to engage that. Because I think Kickstarter, although there's a kind of discount sense of what you get in a value piece, it's also experience. So that 10 to 14 days is a real experience that people remember and really hook onto. And I think it's our duty to really, as a publisher and designers, to really service that community during that time. And then after that time, not just forget about them, but help nurture them, put them into our Discord, build the relationship to keep that going so that they feel like and they are part of the wider Steamforged group. We love all the games we make and we absolutely love the products we make. And it's great to see that, again, it's been a fantastic tool for us to really home their audiences and we have our designers in there that communicate with the teams and see ideas popping through and we see the models being painted. It's a really connected thing. I think social media now can sometimes feel a bit vapid. I think things like Discord and Facebook groups really actually cut through that and actually just give us a real grounding with the community, with the people that play our games.
Yeah, I feel like Discord has been one of those like breakout new technologies that just pops up, and now everyone's using it for
Definitely.
everything. Midjourney, the AI generating company, just didn't even have a website. They just
Yeah.
had a Discord where you could do that. Speaking of new technologies, and you also just mentioned 3D printing. Looking ahead, what are some of the sort of new technologies that you are excited about as a gaming business?
I think the AI world's going to be fascinating. There's a lot of ethical pieces around it that needs to be worked out, but there's a lot of interest around kind of what that's going to do to the gaming landscape. So we're watching and see. We don't currently use AI in our things, and I don't think we have any plans to do that, especially until the ethical pieces is worked out. But we really want to see where kind of the world goes in that and helping. I think tools that can help our design, help our artists create wonderful worlds, and anything that can help kind of explore what we do and create is definitely something that's of interest to us. I think some of the interest in the video kind of manipulation through Sony that's coming through is very interesting. Video technology production. We have in-house production ourselves and then seeing how it can be used. I think just looking at the past 10 years, how much it's adapted and how much we can do now is just crazy. So I'm quite excited for the next 10 years of what I can do. I'd love to see the virtual tabletop side kind of really grow and more interaction there. And we give people experiences way before they even get the product on the table. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Honestly, my opinions vary day to day on it all and where it's going to be. So I'm very open and then to see what will happen. I listen to all points of opinion on it as well. I think so. It'll be very interesting what the next few years holds and where it all lands.
And technology aside, what will the next 10 years hold for Steamforged Games? Like, what do you guys have planned? What's your big vision for the next 10 years for the
Sure.
company?
Yeah, so we've reached a point where we've been through several pieces of kind of instability, I'd say, in the market with COVID, Brexit. We've gone through those journeys over the last thing, and through all that, we've strengthened as a team. Our culture is incredibly strong. Our core team is fantastic. We're currently working with some amazing lifestyle partners, and we really want to grow that. We've maximized our internal capacities. We know exactly what we can do in a year internally in that, and now we're working with some external partners to kind of further grow our reach and what we can do, what we can produce. I'd love to say, in 5 or 10 years that we continue on the route we are, but actually just widen our net. And I think some of our products, we need to work more on kind of widening that marketing because they're great products and people haven't seen them. So really kind of get that reach out there and continue to increase our quality and our production to stay up there with the best in the industry. I really want to see our brand being talked about with the likes of, Stonewire and and Simon, etc.
If you could give some advice to someone who is in that same position today that you were in 10 years ago, someone who just loves games and is thinking of starting a game, what advice would you have for that person starting their journey today?
Sure. I think for me, it would absolutely be to just start doing, just get your prototype made, get your idea down and start working on it. Just if you can, like I said earlier, the technology around now is so great to produce concepts and work and get rough ideas around. It's so much easier to access that. With YouTube and tutorials around and education available free online is staggering, absolutely staggering. And I think it's all there. It's all in your gift to take that and run with that and build it, build good networks, build good people around you and get a prototype made and then start showing it. Create that visual, the VCT model, start showing the examples, take yourself to trade shows and get it out there. I think there's so many cool ideas that can land. I think sometimes feel they have to do everything that on their own. Like they have to make the company, do the Kickstarter, man. And that's not always the way. There's big companies like ourselves, like I said, we've Euphoria mentioned earlier, that we're working with Dire Games now that on that for the third iteration coming up, their Crawl Frost, and then Kickstarter coming up for that. And that's from them trying to do a Kickstarter for the day, not failing from it. We rescued the Kickstarter, we worked with them. They're now a fully fledged design studio, which we pay development money for to continue working with. It's a great relationship. And I think sometimes people get really hung up on trying to do everything themselves. And actually, that it's okay to start with partners and working with people in the industry as well.
That is great advice. Do people ever pitch their games to you, or do people send you submissions for their ideas?
Yeah, we often hear we've got so many trade shows, we'll have pitches behind doors and people kind of email in and submit requests. So we're always interested in kind of some of that side and the publisher side. And conversely, we actively look in the market for people potentially on crowdfunding that have run into trouble or people that have got great ideas that we think we could work with and grow and we'll approach them. It's definitely a twofold kind of area there. I think over the last couple of years, our business kind of outreach, I would say, has really grown and been part of Steamforge's growth as well. And I think it's been really rewarding. We took Street Masters recently, which is again a title was in trouble. We managed to bring that back to the market, and people very happy about that. And Euphoria, like I said, was a past one. We've got other titles that will be announced in the future as well that we've worked on, which again I think people have really been receptive to that. We took negative situations, turned them positive, and not just from a kind of really good guy Steamforge sense, but more from there's a strong business sense around that as well to help these games that are really good not die and disappear somewhere.
you are kind of becoming a private equity company
Yeah.
in games a little bit yourself.
It's a little bit of buy and build going on. Yeah, it's something that we noticed that we're growing, and we're not buying companies, we're buying IP, but it's definitely we have ended up buying IP and then working with studios that built the IP. So there's definitely an element of that, and I think we're doing quite a good job of it. You can ask our partners, like in Dyer, that these relationships now are going over 2 to 3 years, and they've been very very positive. So it's definitely a really nice part of Steamforged over the last couple of years that we've built, and has really rewarded everyone involved. So I want to continue to explore that and build that for the company.
Amazing. Rich, thank you so much. I would like to remind people listening to this that you're hearing a man speak who 10 years ago was a teacher with a dream, and now he's buying IP left and right. And he is acting like his own private equity firm in gaming. It's just been such an incredible journey. Thank you for sharing this with us, Rich. Like, really appreciate it. Super inspiring story. And I hope you continue to inspire many more budding entrepreneurs who are sitting in a game store right now with a dream.
No problem at all. And yeah, like my absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on and be able to talk about story. Like I said, if you want to reach out to us and Steamforge and talk about that, we're always around the Discord. We're always there, and we're always happy to chat and bounce ideas with people. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.